Reflections on the First Test by Adam Grant. So, number one, it was a good win. It was a good win from England. I think it was crucial in the sense that there was so much pressure on McCollum and Stokes that they really had to win this series, with both series this summer. Now, the one later against Pakistan should be more straightforward, but New Zealand are probably the same level as England, and the way England have been playing, this series is not a foregone conclusion. Had they lost this, having been bowled out for 140 on the first day, then they would have been under even more pressure. I mean, not really from the journalists who just act as like a kind of media department for McCollum and Stokes, but just everyone else could sense kind of things are rotten in the state of Denmark, and it, there'd come a time where even Gordon Thompson would have to actually sack McCollum and Key. But this gives McCollum some breathing space here. It's also crucial for Stokes because he's not scoring any runs, and if he's not scoring any runs and we're losing all the time, and the fact he was 35 this week, last week, sorry, it depends if you count Sundays this week or last week, but yeah, he was 35 at the start of this test. You do think, you know, it's kind of inevitable that people will talk about his future. So for that reason, it was a really good win. Also, just the fact that they lost the toss in really difficult conditions. Were bowled out for 140 and still won. So you have to give credit there, and also give credit to bowlers such as Ollie Robinson on his return. Now, what was interesting, New Zealand are usually a very good side in the field. I mean, even years ago when they weren't so good, one thing about them was they were always a good fielding side. So it it was kind of a bit surprising to see them drop so many chances. The drop of Brook, they did drop Brook a few times, but the one when he was on, I think he was eight. It was a very low score, and in the first innings, he went on to make a crucial 50 odd, which got England to 140. I mean, if it wasn't for that, England would have had maybe like 80 or something. So that was crucial. And even in the second innings, there was a stage where I think it was Williamson missed a direct hit. Again, probably would have got it another day. So that was a bit uncharacteristic from New Zealand. Now, their batsmen didn't adapt to the pitch as well as England's. I think there were stages where they prodded around a bit too much in those conditions. That could have taken more chance. I mean, I think Glenn Phillips played very well, and Jameson in the first innings. Probably that was the approach to take on this pitch, but it's a tricky one in a low scoring game. Now, England's debutant and recall play did very well. So Gay makes a 50 odd on debut, very good. And that's more than Crawley would have got on this pitch. We all know what Crawley's like. He needs a feather bed with no movement to get runs. And he always gets out to Matt Henry. So he wouldn't have done anything here. So that was an improvement. I hope Gay can really cement his place in the side. And then we have Gay and Dockett for the next few years, and that we have no selection kind of headache in the future. And that's an issue that's settled. I mean, that would be great, but you can't really tell that after one test. Robinson bowled well, but bloody hell, these are his like perfect conditions. A pitch like the overhead conditions. Um, if he didn't get wickets here, he might as well just retire. And a bit like kind of Wokes or Goss Fraser, you go a pitch in conditions like this, that'll be great. It also actually proves that he should have played against India last summer in the fifth test. There was a really crucial toss we won at the Oval, and I think India got like 230 odd, but they should have been skittled for 150 or under. It was like perfect conditions to bowl. And it was bloody Jamie Overton they picked, who was fast years ago and apparently can hold a bat even though he got no runs in that match. And he just didn't take advantage of those conditions. I think Robinson would have done. Yeah, but there we go. But they've recorded him in the end. It's never too late to do the right thing. Um, at the balance of the side, I think England missed a trick by playing Bashir. They should stop doing things for optics or for a message they send out, or I don't know, whatever. If a spinner isn't required, don't play them. If you haven't got any good spinners and the pitch is like this and the conditions are like the ones we just had, it's clear the spinner isn't going to bowl. You're just playing with 10 men. And since he's not a good batsman, he did make a few crucial runs at the end of the first innings, but there wasn't that many. I think the commentators were a bit over the top about that one. But it didn't. They could have had a bowling all rounder. Could have someone like Sam Corrin would have got some runs and chipped in with a few wickets. You in a game against a side that's as good as or better than you, don't hamper yourself just to say, look, we're playing a spinner. Like if it's not needed, then don't play one. We don't have a world class spinner, so okay, in conditions like this in England, don't play them. That's it. So hopefully the next time they're confronted with a situation like that, they do that. You can rely on Bethel and Root for a bit of spin if you need it, but that's not really needed here. They'll play a spinner at the Oval, which is fair enough. I still don't think it should be Bashir though, but that's the kind they've gone with. He was someone who wasn't good enough for the Ashes, according to them, but he's back to being good enough again. That's funny. Now, read the balance of the side. It does make me think about Ben Stokes and Ben Stokes' future. And is there a kind of argument for phasing him out now? Now he is getting wickets, which is good. I think stats wise, he's our second highest wicket taker in the last 12 months. It's something like that. But I don't know how much longer he'll be able to bowl, or for how long he can bowl in a game, and how many overs he can bowl, etc. Before he breaks down. Because if he does break down or has an injury that prohibits him from bowling, that's him done. He's not coming back with the bat. That's it. It's finished. So you do just think, is there a way of phasing him out a bit? So, for instance, England go 2-0 up in a 3-test series, not playing him in the final test, and just looking to move on a bit. I think a lot really depends on whether they think he'll be in any good shape or any form to play Australia next year. I'm not sure he will. I mean, if they think he's capable of 2 or 3 good performances that can win 2 or 3 tests that win as the Ashes, then fine. I mean, he's got a contract till October 2027, so you could use him sparingly. I wouldn't mind that, but we might be moving away now from the stage where he's an automatic pick every single game, and there might be some tests where he has to be a non-playing captain if they still want him to be captain. He can't really be in the top 7 now, I don't think. And also, whilst he's bowling like this, you could put him at 8 and bring Sam Corrin in. Corrin could be 7, he could be 8, whatever. But once he breaks down, what do they do? So that's something to look at in the near future. But with him, you think he is still capable of the odd standout performance, but he's not. I don't think he's got many left in him, and it's just a question of does he have? Do they think he's still got a few in him for the Ashes next year? I wouldn't even pick him to tour South Africa or Bangladesh. There's no point. Let him kind of navigate most of the summer, give him a rest in the winter, and then just hope his kind of big match mentality produces the odd kind of test win against Australia next year. But they've got to think about phasing him out and looking for someone new as captain, and also in the middle order. Now, changes for the Oval, I can't see many except possibly Jofra Archer if he's fit and firing and has good rhythm. He wasn't available for this test. I mean, if he is looking like he's in good form, then you would think you'd have to pick him for the Oval. That suits him more than it would suit someone like Ollie Robinson. But that would be the only change I can think of, unless there's an injury. Now, the issue of the weather in cricket. Cricket is at a disadvantage given the fact it's kind of at the mercy of the weather in a way that football or rugby isn't. Um, but sometimes it, it makes things worse. So obviously, if there's thunder or lightning, you shouldn't be playing. But given the fact people are paying 175 or 150 quid to watch this game, if there's a bit of bad light or like slight rain, you can't be going off in that, and you should be able to start in it as well. And bad light was meant for player safety. It wasn't brought in because the conditions weren't amazing for a batsman. Like if it's difficult, it's difficult. You know, sometimes you lose a toss when the ball swings, or lose the toss on a sunny day and someone makes 500. That's it. That's cricket. So they've got to change the rules on bad light or enforce them properly, and they've got to start playing in drizzle and kind of slightly bad light. They just do not think enough about the spectator. It's amazing, and that is the main reason I think Test cricket isn't that popular. I mean, in white ball cricket, you do have Duckworth Lewis, but also they do seem to be more kind of proactive or seem to have more urgency about getting the players on the pitch than Tests. So that's something really they could change that isn't that radical um, and would improve the game a lot without having to go down the route of weird gimmicks or even the route like Vaughan suggested of 4-day tests and things like that. If you did this right, then maybe you'd be solving a lot of problems. Now, talking of Vaughan, that brings us on to the last point about this pitch. He was complaining that the pitch um, was not up to standard. I think someone in the Telegraph said pitches like this would kill Test cricket. Now, to be honest with you, I didn't actually mind the pitch. I think every once in a while a pitch like that is fine. I prefer pitches like that to the pitches we've had in the last 4 years under McCollum, where they're just flat and they're just so flat. They're just made so that someone as limited as Zach Crawley and as frenetic as Ollie Pope can make some runs. And it seems like the purpose for them. They couldn't do it on any other pitch, and I don't like that. There was a game at Trent Bridge about 2 years ago against the West Indies, and they both made about approx 450 and 470 or something. And then in the second innings, England got another like maybe 430, 440, 450, and then the Windies collapsed. But that pitch was so flat that a better side batting on it, they could have batted the whole 5 days. There was no problem at all. No, I'd rather a pitch like the one we had at Lords than a pitch like that one we had at Trent Bridge, to be fair to you. The other interesting thing, Michael Vaughan talking about, things that are detrimental to Test cricket. I do view that with some suspicion. Now, I remember Vaughan's career. He was a top batsman and he was a top captain. He's in my top two captains of the last 30 years for England. Um, Actually, top two the last 40 years, I'd say. And I mean, Strauss built a better side and probably was a better leader, but Vaughan was such a good tactician, a lot of nous. He was aggressive, but in an intelligent, restrained way, um, and had a real instinct for the game. And actually, as a commentator, when he's talking about player selection and uh, tactical changes or whatever, he's spot on. Where I turn off is when he starts talking about the good of the game, given the fact he is, a fully paid up member of the 100 supporters club. Now, that's probably because he earns a living commentating on it, but it does stick in the throat a bit. And I think for a lot of us, cricket fans, we see him as a bit of a sellout for that. I mean, you cannot say that this game wasn't entertaining, but the 100 is. It's poor quality cricket, a terrible format, um, with idiotic commentary, some of which is done by him, but not exclusively. Um, Kind of children TV presenter level of commentary, and then complete gaslighting of the audience. I mean, guys like Vaughan or Peterson have seen some of the very best cricket that there's been, and they're going mad about a four from some kind of, I don't know, mercenary South African or Namibian cricketer that trickles into the boundary. Whoa, whoa, wow, wow! Every time there's a four, and like they pretend to be so excited, and they're almost like Meg Ryan from when Harry met Sally. It's that kind of acting about a really really mediocre cricket game that no one remembers and no one's interested in, and will not live long in the memory. But there we go. And the other interesting thing is, I tell you what's killing Test cricket. It's not pitches like this. It's franchise cricket. The franchise cricket that people like Michael Vaughan support. The franchise cricket, which means the calendar is packed, and that international cricket has a narrower and narrower window where people aren't unable to prepare for tours anymore. And in England, the month of August is just dedicated to the 100. A month in England, which is quite rare, where we have sun, and the kids are off on school holidays. But they don't get to watch Test cricket in ideal conditions. They'll have to go and watch it in September in the dark and the rain, when the football season's on as well. Um, so that's what's killing cricket. It killed the West Indies. All their good players left because franchise cricket was paying more, and you know because of that the last time West Indies came, it was 3-0, and they were probably the same standard as Ireland, and it was like that was down to a lot of their players not wanting to play them anymore because the rewards of franchise cricket were so good. So when you talk about the death of pitches like that being the death of Test cricket, it's more the franchise cricket that's done that. So so people know, don't take anyone who supports or is a large advocate of the 100 or franchise cricket should not be listened to when they talk about the future of cricket or the future of Test cricket or whatever, or what threats there are to it, because they won't acknowledge the biggest threat to it, because they tend to be making money commentating on it. So take that with a pinch of salt.